Hello everyone, I'm Emma Askew. I'm an environmental researcher and filmmaker, and I'm also the founder of the environmental communication service Earth Minutes. I hope over the next few minutes I can provide a few thought-provoking ideas to help you in your climate action. I grew up in rural Devon, so I've always had a really strong appreciation for the environment. But it wasn't until after uni that I started to become very aware of the extremity of the environmental challenges that we were both facing and creating. From plastic pollution, the truth of fashion, to climate change. I didn't know what to do with all the environmental information I had learned, and I didn't really know where to start or how to help. I decided to keep researching. I became an environmental consultant, and I also worked at a few environmental charities. But I suddenly realised that I really couldn't keep all this environmental pressure on just my shoulders. And that's when I really started to understand the importance of getting other people on board. I then discovered one particularly striking challenge that every environmental charity, company, and business was facing: trying to engage the unengaged. Everyone seemed to want to do it, but there was no real framework on how to do it. So I had three main questions. How do we get people to care about the environment? Why should they care? And why do I care? So, why do I care? I have to remind myself about this all the time, and to be honest, it changes all the time as well. As an activist, I go through different stages of being very passionate about a certain issue to suddenly being very burnt out. And this is where finding your why comes in very useful. We're at a crisis point in time, and you've probably heard that a lot. But I see it as both a human responsibility as well as an opportunity. We have the opportunity to make a difference right now. We have all the solutions right now that are achievable and accessible. So I will keep fighting for a better future. Now I've told you why I care, which you may relate to or not. It leads me on to the question of why should other people care about the environment, to drive action and to live sustainably. Considering research surrounding climate change has progressed significantly over the last few years, it seems crazy that there's actually a lack of research into the psychology of environmentalism, how we think and communicate environmental messages. So why don't people care? There are so many barriers that interfere and disconnect people from their environment. Economic factors, human values, emotional involvement, education, priorities, and our attitudes. We may not be able to change all those barriers at once, but there's one that's always particularly stood out to me, and that's attitude. The way we think has a huge control over how and if we act. So how do we get people to care? There isn't a simple answer to this, and that's why I've actually curated my own platform, Earth Minutes, to encourage creators and researchers to collaborate, to communicate these important environmental messages as effectively as possible. To do this, I use two different communication tools to inspire new attitudes, and that's creativity and optimism. So optimism, a lot of people automatically switch off at the word, but it shouldn't be confused with happiness. From experience, I've always found that by addressing environmental challenges in a particularly pessimistic or devastating way, it can feel distressing, and then it can quickly develop into feeling extremely overwhelming, not knowing what to do and not knowing whether they can or will make a difference. Even if people are motivated at first, this tends to be short-term. Optimism relates to the idea of a better future, envisioning the things that could improve and that could change. This way of thinking and this attitude can really prevent burnout and has really helped me with creating this resilience to climate change, this mindset resilience. We have to see that humanity is capable of achieving a better future. This being said, we cannot have optimism without that sense of realism or urgency and these serious misconceptions of, but it doesn't affect me, it's not my problem, needs to stop. The next tool is creativity. We need to get creative to find our own role within climate action. I personally love filmmaking, and recent studies in the production industry have actually stressed that we need a whole range of comedy, drama, entertainment to create this engagement. We need to normalise the conversation surrounding climate change. In fact, to prove that we still don't talk about this enough, a recent survey shows how little climate change was mentioned in UK broadcasting from September 2017 to 2018. A mere 3,125 times. So whether you're involved in the production industry, the media, or social media, we all have a role of influence. and we must face climate change head on. Although no single person gets up in the morning and intentionally wants to add to climate change, that's really the problem. We're not connecting our daily activities with the wider perspective of climate change. The state of the world in this climate crisis is our narrative. It is our norm. So we really need to integrate the normality of this in our daily lifestyles, in our daily situations, on the radio, on the news, on TV, to really engage people. Using these tools of optimism and creativity, my team and I at Earth Minutes have curated an environmental YouTube series called the Now series. This addresses different lifestyle choices, from food, clothes, periods, to our attitudes. This series is in partnership with many amazing influencers, businesses and charities, from Extinction Rebellion to Global Optimism. It would not have been possible without the support of the Diction Foundation, and we focus on 5 crucial environmental challenges that have been utterly neglected by mainstream media here in the UK. We film conversations that I believe that everyone needs to hear. People don't have to have this preconditioned care for the issue before the episode. We've made it as concise as possible with all the microdocs under 10 minutes to get straight to exploring solutions. We highlight the direct actions that can be taken, which is particularly important to me because when I watch environmental documentaries or films, I really want to know what to do next. So I really hope this series can act as a platform to introduce you to different environmental topics, as well as to give you a starting place in your action. It is a privilege to have the choice in whether to act or to not. We have to use our privilege wisely. Thank you so much for listening. I really hope you enjoy the series and please don't hesitate to get in touch. Thank you.